back hard, but President Trump didn't think 150 people who had nothing to do with it, that it was worth it. That's the kind of guy Bolton is. That decision by President Trump was the most irrational thing he ever saw. Actually, it's just another reason why we love Trump so much, and another reason why the swamp hates him. He is anti-war. That's why they put him in the ringer, right? All the times he got in trouble, it was all fake, all of it. And President Trump from time to time, actually, this should be a story every single day. He does talk about it a lot, and he should. The campaign against him, the illegal campaign to put him in jail, that's the kind of thing that you need to have some retribution over.
They want to put my son in jail for something that they made up. So they know they made it up. And they say he will serve the rest of his life in prison. These are sick, bad people. And don't tell me about us going after them. If anything, we've been very, very soft. I wouldn't be that soft, I'll tell you that. Thank you very much, everybody.
When I say retribution, retribution again is punishment for bad behavior, for doing something wrong. And it's true, this stuff was directed by Biden for political reasons. And the big difference, they didn't have a case. President Trump, they have a case against these guys. And whenever you hear this, you still hear it all the time, that Joe Biden had nothing to do with the prosecution of President Trump. Give me a break.
This idea that this was a weaponized, these were all these different prosecutions and all these different jurisdictions were not all directed from one place. There's absolutely no evidence of that. You guys can tell me what evidence you have of that, but I've never seen it, and I've never heard anybody actually voice it.
The Obama and Biden administrations didn't politicize the DOJ. And
okay, who?
Oh, I mean, come on. You could, they were better at hiding who it was, or more transparent.
I'm just saying, if you are making the claim that this was directed by some kind of big puppeteer at the top of the pyramid, who is that person?
So how did the IRS only go after conservative groups?
They didn't go.
And why did you're not answering my question? Who is the person?
I know, right?
Who are they?
I'm talking about the conservatives that Obama and Biden.
There's no. I'm sorry.
All right. Playing dumb here. There's so much evidence that the Biden White House directed this stuff against President Trump. I'll go right to the New York Times, their favorite breed down there in Washington, D.C. As recently as last year, this is all the way back in 2022, Mr. Biden confided to his inner circle that he believed former President Donald J. Trump was a threat to democracy and should be prosecuted. And while the president has never communicated his frustrations directly to Mr. Garland, he has said privately that he wanted Mr. Garland to act less like a ponderous judge and more like a prosecutor who is willing to take decisive actions over the events of January 6th. That's how he told them, through their preferred organ, the New York Times. This was it. He read it in the paper. Everybody was talking about it. And then Biden got really frustrated, and he just said it out loud himself.
We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power by, if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
It's kind of mumbling there, but if you put those words up, that seems to be a direct order to the Justice Department. What the hell is he talking about? We will just have to demonstrate that he will not take power by, if he does run, I'm making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again. There you go, Abby Phillip and all your friends at that silly talk show. There's your evidence. He didn't say beat him at the ballot box. He said all this stuff with the Justice Department. That's what it means. And here's some more evidence. The White House, right? Who dropped by the White House? Who later prosecuted President Trump? Nathan Wade, remember, the boyfriend to Fani Willis? He spent hours at the White House. Who else? Many hours, like 72 hours, billed it all to the government. Tish James was at the White House for 8 hours, later prosecuted and sued President Trump. Merrick Garland, we just saw that thing in the paper.
I haven't seen him lately, have you?
Matthew Colangelo. Who the hell is that? Well, he's an important person in all of this. A henchman. He's a henchman. He was a top deputy to the Attorney General himself, and often he spoke for President Biden.
On behalf of Attorney General Merrick Garland, let me say that the Department of Justice and the Environmental Protection Agency are excited to co-host this event together. The only thing better would be to be with you in person. Hopefully we'll be able to do that next year.
Whatever you say. That's Matthew Colangelo. And at that time, early in the administration, look at this organization chart. He's very, very high up there in the DOJ. There are
Democrats
about
are pretty
100,000
shady.
people who work there, and he's in the top
Shady.
20. That's a big deal job. And then he leaves it to become Joe Blow prosecutor in the Manhattan DA's office. They got like an assistant DA. They're all over the place. There he is, like one of the guys behind the main DA in a press conference. Well, that's not just any DA. That's Alvin Bragg, who went after President Trump for the offense of paying his own lawyer. You see him? That's Matt Colangelo. And he went from a federal job, top level, to a mid-level ordinary lawyer in a local prosecutor office. That's because he was kind of managing the whole thing. They were going after Trump. You can't just, no, that's inexplicable, other than the Biden administration had a vendetta to get Trump. And they didn't have anything on him, so they had to make it up, right? They had to criminalize what was normal. So let's see those real quick, if you don't mind. Paying his own lawyer. Oh boy, you can't pay your own lawyer. We're going to make a federal case out of that. Making a phone call to the Georgia officials. Listen to it, there's no crime. Having his own property, i.e. the so-called classified documents, they were his. And peacefully and patriotically urging people to conduct themselves on January 6th. It is so amazing. The story needs to be told and retold, and people must be held accountable. This is real. They're getting away with it because we don't have these name big institutions anymore. Everybody used to trust the New York Times. They're not trustworthy. And too many people in the conservative media just sit around and complain about what the mainstream media is doing as opposed to doing their own thing. It's a bad habit. A lot of us have fallen for it. All right.